going on, everyone? Dave here, back with another video. I just got back from seeing the Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I just had to make a quick little, review because, oh man, was it a great movie. I found it fantastic. I thought it was wonderful, honestly. Um, I was very excited to see it because, I'm a pretty big Demon Slayer fan. I mean, I'm probably even more of a Demon Slayer fan now after seeing the movie. But I watched this show, season one, uh, and just because I saw like on some message boards and like people wondering, oh, should I watch all the season one before I see the movie, and with a lot of anime movies, they're not entirely like canon, or maybe they are, but like they're their own self-contained story. And this one kind of was, but I definitely still recommend watching all of Demon Slayer season one because it literally picks up right where that ended, and there's references to prior events and characters and everything that I think you would get and appreciate more if you kind of knew what they were talking about. Um, but I think the beauty of the movie and how well it was written was, yeah, you kind of have that initial kind of shell shock of like, okay, who are these characters? You know, who are they talking about here? Whatever. But like, you still feasibly could watch the movie um, without seeing season one of Demon Slayer. Again, I probably wouldn't recommend that, but you could. You could, and I think you would be able to probably follow along pretty well. Um, but let's see where to start. I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything, but a preemptive spoiler warning for those who haven't seen the movie yet, because I may accidentally say something or just relating to a point that I'm talking about may mention something. But I'm gonna try my best to keep it as spoiler free as possible. That's why I'm also gonna try my best to keep it on the shorter side. But you know me, I ramble, so I don't know. But so the first thing that stuck out to me with the film was, I mean, first off, just out of the way, the art is amazing. We all know that. If you've seen Demon Slayer, the art is kind of unlike any other anime I've seen, especially when it comes to art, or duh, when it comes to attack animations and when Tanjiro or Zenitsu or whoever uses like their form, fifth form, or like water fifth form or whatever, you get that cool almost like oil painting, like traditional like Japanese like oil painting look around Tanjiro's sword. And that's something that has stuck out to me since I started Demon Slayer, and it just looks great on the big screen. This is a movie that, I mean, you can definitely, I definitely recommend watching in any capacity, but I really made a point to myself to try to get to the theater, even though I kind of didn't want to, because COVID is still a thing, is still a real thing, and I just, try my best to limit where I go and what I do. But I was like, I have to see this in theater, and I'm very glad I did, because seeing the art and everything, and the weapon art and just everything on there on the big screen was just fantastic. It was really neat to see. And it's always cool. It's always a special treat for me to see an anime movie on the big screen. I've only been able to see a handful. It was, this one, the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, what else? Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. I did see the Dragon Ball. There was a special showing at my local theater of the original Broly movie, I think in preparation for the new Broly movie, and I went and saw that, And the movie's great. Like the original Broly is a great movie, but I hated going because there were a bunch of dorks sitting a couple rows behind me that just kept quoting the fucking TFS dub the entire time. And that pissed me the fuck off because I love TFS. I think they're hilarious. Like, and the dub of that movie is very funny. But like, if you're gonna go and watch the movie, just watch the fucking movie. Like, right? Like, they're sitting back there like doing the fucking lines from the dub, and it pissed me off. But anyway, that's a story for another time. And then what was the other anime movie that? Oh, the My Hero movie. My Hero. I don't even remember the subtitle. That was a good movie too. But anyway, all that's not even relevant. I don't know why I went on that tangent. But basically, I was kind of trying to say that to say that like seeing an anime movie in theaters is always a really cool and unique experience, at least for me. So I was already really hyped and really stoked. And again, seeing all that on the big screen is just a really great thing. It's really fun and really cool. And I had a big smile, a dumb smile on my face the entire time. I'm just sitting there like, under my mask, of course, just because like, and I think that's just like a way that art really can like get to you in a good way. Because like I'm sitting there genuinely having a good ass time and just watching a movie. And yeah, it was great. It was a great movie. So we touched on the art kind of. I'm kind of all over the place because I just got back and I like have a bunch of thoughts. What else? The comedy. Demon Slayer was already a pretty comedic show. I like their style of comedy. It makes me laugh. But like it's not something that is like outright hilarious to me. Again, very funny show. I love the humor, but it's not like outright, laugh out loud comedy. But this movie was really funny. I don't know if it was because they had a shorter time window, seeing as how it was only a movie and not a whole season of episodes, but they really crammed a lot of jokes in there, and I appreciated that because again, as you guys know, I love comedy, and that movie made me laugh a lot. Like I'm sitting there cackling up in the theater. Like it was good. It was funny. Nezuko just running around being all cute with her little, when they add like shock or like confusion to the characters, they just put the two little pupils instead of like drawing their whole eyes, and just her being funny. And like Zenitsu always is ridiculous with his his antics, trying to hit on girls and whatever. And then Inosuke was actually like he's a character that like kind of doesn't annoy me. Well, kind of annoyed me throughout season 1. And some of that is on, like, I believe it's Bryce Papenbrook who plays him. And I don't dislike Bryce Papenbrook. He plays a lot of characters. But, like, his style of acting, especially when he tries to play, like, angry, like, rough characters, just, like, I always call it, like, Saint Bernard acting. Because, like, when a Saint Bernard, like, does anything, they're always slobbering and always spitting. And you hear Bryce Papenbrook play fucking like Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan, and like especially when he goes Titan mode, he's always like, I'm gonna kill him. That's my Bryce Papenbrook impression. But yeah, and he does that with Zenitsu in season 1 a little bit, and it kind of annoys me because it's like, ugh, you could like tone it down a little bit. And I think for the movie he kind of did, and I like that a lot better. I like kind of aloof and meathead Inosuke. I like aloof and meathead Inosuke much better than psychotic, Saint Bernard Inosuke. It is a Saint Bernard, right? The dog I'm thinking of. You guys get it, whatever. But Yeah, so Nosuke was quickly actually my favorite character of the film, and normally he's not really my favorite character in Demon Slayer, but he was funny. Like the whole them on the train thing and the whole like, he's never been on a train before, and he's like, "Yo, who is this beast?" Like, and then yeah, well, I won't get into it because spoiler. Uh, but it was cool, and the villain though, like, if I had to say one thing that I not even like a bad thing, but just to my personal taste, is like, why can't anime villains just be like bad guys anymore? Like, I get in Demon Slayer, the point is like at the end of the day, these aren't bad. Well, some of them are bad people that like killing humans, but like some of them are just people that got turned into demons and still at the core of their soul are demons or they're humans. Which isn't really the case with this guy. He's still an asshole regardless. But like, why do all these bad guys have to be like, oh, I just love watching people get murdered and blah 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 blah, like this like theater kid acting. Like, can't they just be like, fuck you, I'm a bad guy? Like, can't bad guys just be bad guy? Like, I don't know, maybe I sound like a fucking anime boomer when I say that, but like, I kind of miss like, I don't remember the last anime, like the last like 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 martial arts anime that I watched, at least in recent memory, where the villain is an actual villain. Like it, well, maybe that's not the best way to explain it. I mean, he is a villain. Like, this guy in the movie is a villain. He's a bad guy, but he's very, expressive with his like, everybody, like, horny. He's almost horny. Like, why do villains have to be horny all the time now? Like, I don't understand that. And it's not even really a bad thing. It's more of just my personal, like, come on, just be a bad guy. But whatever. That's not a knock on the film. That's more of my personal bullshit that I got going on. But as much as, Inosuke, Zenitsu, Tanjiro, of course, he's the main character, as big as they were, the star of the show was Rengoku. What's his name? Rengoku. And I won't get into more about him because he was such a big part of this film, and I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to spoil anything. But he's really the star of this film, and it was, seeing his story, and like, I love when an anime explores these other characters that you might not normally get to touch on, whether that's through the movie, obviously, or just through like different arcs in a show. And I think they did it very well. Like, they told Tanjiro's story because, again, he is the main character. They like had him there. They explained everything. They gave Inosuke a pretty good like chunk to shine. They let Zenitsu do his thing where he's asleep, but he like kicks ass. They gave Nezuko time to kick ass and be adorable and whatever. But a lot of it was on Rengoku, and it was really cool to see. And he's a cool character. I think he's a cool character. So yeah, it kind of sets up for season 2, but not really. It sets up for season 2 in the sense of like, okay, now we gotta kill these fucking demons, But we kind of already knew that. Like, we kind of already knew that there are these like upper echelon demons that are like really tough compared to everyone else, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have to fight these guys. But it sets up for that pretty well. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't want to get into anything specific again because I don't want to spoil anything. And honestly, there's nothing really bad I have to say about the film. The only thing is, like, again, and it's not even on the film's detriment. It's just personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the villain. But I don't even think he was a bad villain. It's just that style of bad guy just doesn't appeal to me as much as another style of bad guy, or as much as it may appeal to somebody else. So again, that's on me. That's not on the film. The film, it was great. Honestly, it was just fantastic. Again, art, the series has always knocked it out of the park. Um, yeah, I mean, this movie has made me even a bigger Demon Slayer fan than I already was. And I considered myself to be like a pretty decent Demon Slayer fan. And it's actually kind of funny. I like just finished season 1 earlier today too. Like I finished the last episode, and then I like a half hour later I went and saw the movie. Which I wasn't planning on doing, so it was kind of a fun spur of the moment thing for me. I almost had a panic attack because I like normally don't do spur of the moment things, and my anxiety was like, "Oh God, what are we doing? You can't do that. You can't just do a thing because you want to do it. Are you crazy?" But I did it. I powered through, and that was a small victory for me. So the movie may have a little bit of a sentimental value for you, boy, because he overcame some anxiety today, which is always good and always a victory. Those small victories is something that we always, feel good working towards. But anyway, back to the movie. I'm trying to think of just anything in particular that isn't a spoiler. Great setting, like the whole train setting was really cool. Pretty much the entire movie took place on the train, which was really neat. It gave an interesting element to the fights because like most of the fights, or a good portion of the fights, weren't in wide open areas. So it gave the characters, it gave a lot of interesting art moments just from an animation standpoint. Oh, that too. Let me touch on that because the combination of the traditional 2D and 3D animation has always been really great in this show, and they really kind of knocked it out of the park in the movie. I honestly, probably some of the movie could have been in like actual 3D. With some of the train pieces flying off and like just the bad guy and his attacks and stuff. It was cool. And yeah, it was neat. Some of the stuff kind of wrapped up a little quickly. Like, again, avoiding spoilers, like, it almost feels like there's like 2 different movies, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of makes me feel like this might have been written as like season 2, or like half of season 2, because I did the math. The movie is about 2 hours, and like if you say every episode is about 20 minutes, you could get about 5-6 episodes of material out of there. So that's like a third of a season or half of a season. I mean, the first season was 26 episodes. You could do a 12 episode second season, or it would make for a good arc, is what I'm saying. So like I feel like, sorry, I just kicked something under my desk. I feel like you could have set that up for like a good second season, or like good second season opener, and then gone from there. I'm not saying that's what they did, but I'm just saying because some of it feels a little like okay, this is where the episode would end, or like when they move on to a different part in the movie, it's like, okay, this is a new thing. This is a new part, and then you kind of like I like was driving home and I was like, oh yeah, that thing happened in the beginning. Like it kind of felt like 2 different movies, which isn't necessarily even a bad thing. It was just something that I noticed, and I was like, that's definitely an interesting kind of choice that they made there. Again, not even really a bad choice, but it just made me think, like, again, like, did they, actually plan for this, or whatever. One thing I hope going forward into the second season is they don't do the Dragon Ball Super route and retell the movie. Not that Super did that poorly, because they kind of expanded on the movie. And, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who hasn't seen, or at least hasn't heard of Dragon Ball Super, but they had the Battle of Gods and the Resurrection F movies, and then in the show they just redid those and kind of expanded on the story, changed a few things up. So it wasn't it was still worthwhile to watch, but it would definitely give this film a lot more validity if in season 2 they started it after the events of this film. And then it would, one, make it so a lot more people watch this film, and two, again, like I said, it would give it more validity, because if they just did it over again, it would be like, what's the point? And this film was so good that I wouldn't really want it to be kind of hashed over like that. But again, that's just kind of a future, like, hopefully they don't fuck it up type deal. That's not, again, really anything about the movie. But yeah, animation was really good. What was I going on about? I was starting to say something else earlier, but I forgot. I don't know. I can't really think of it right now, but a great movie. Honestly, like, this kind of review was all over the place for sure, but there's nothing really I can say bad about this movie. Yeah, it was a great film. Definitely recommend it if you're a Demon Slayer fan, of course. If you're a Demon Slayer fan, you probably already have seen it. But if you're just an anime fan in general, I honestly, like, it took me a little bit to watch. Obviously, like, I just finished it, like, today. Like, season 1 and then the movie all today. So it took me a while, but I'm glad I finally kind of bit the bullet and watched Demon Slayer. I was putting it off, not for anything in particular, just because I never got around to watching it, but I definitely wish I, like, watched it sooner. But at the same time, I'm glad I watched it, like, so that I would kind of remember what was happening, because my brain, I'd forget. So, like, if I watched Demon Slayer when it first came out, I would probably have to rewatch it again, like, in preparation for this movie. But anyway, yeah, I definitely, if you haven't seen Demon Slayer yet, you should. It's a great show, and there's a reason why it's quickly become so popular. Yeah, the writing, the characters are great, and it transitions well to this movie, and it's a great film. Highly recommend it, and I had a great time watching it. So I hope that this review does something for you. If you're still on the fence about watching it, don't be. Just go do it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I have other videos on the channel, which I would greatly appreciate y'all checking out. And I have more planned and more coming. Manga, like comedy stuff, other reviews. Yeah, so hope y'all enjoyed. Have fun at the movies. Be safe, wear your mask, and yeah, Demon Slayer. See ya.